Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It's a shocking sexual scandal, and fans are completely enjoying it. There hasn't been any hot scandals on Young and Restless recently, but fans are definitely ready for whatever soap opera may be about to happen. Although there was no real sex or major controversy from Audra's attempt to pseudo-seduce Kyle, the good news is that the plan might have set the stage for some real adultery that will heat up our screens. Kyle-Audra kiss. It was almost difficult to remember the last time we had a very soap opera sex scandal on Young and Restless because it had been so long. Actually, the last truly hot affair may have occurred in 2022, when Chance and Amanda saw Abby and Devon in the act. More recently, Adam and Chelsea hooked up in Baltimore, but it was more of a random and melancholy encounter than a sexy romp. Thankfully, Kyle's terribly mistimed marriage proposal to Claire on Young and Restless merely set up our finest chance for yet another delightfully naughty diversion. Kyle's lady love fled into the night, requesting time and space, after he failed to read the room several times, leaving the situation encouragingly unclear. Are they on a break, like Ross and Rachel in Friends, or are they still together? Kyle-Claire. In any case, what transpired next made it possible for Claire to lose her mind and let loose. Claire persuaded Holden, who just so happens to have amazing abs and a major crush on her, to join her for a drink when they ran into one another. Holden, Claire. Claire informed Esther earlier that she had never had too much Vespa and that she was feeling the need to live dangerously following the upsetting incident with Kyle. Given that she will most likely enter the danger zone with Novak after hitting the bar, we were overjoyed to hear it. We asked Soap's readers if they thought Claire should cheat on Holden after foreseeing this turn of events. The majority of respondents, 53%, said they were all for the soapy goodness, even if it was only one roll in the hay, despite 47% believing that having sex would be going too far. Joshua Morrow and Michelle Stafford, The Young and the Restless affair of Nick Phyllis Barn. We hope to see Claire and Holden append the soap opera because, to be honest, we're hungry for some hot controversy in the middle of Young and Restless' dry desert of dull business drama. Do they need to start dating? Well, we'll let you decide that. Cast your ballot. It's a shocking sexual scandal, and fans are completely enjoying it, because let's face it, The Young and the Restless has been in desperate need of some steam, some fire, some raw, messy, soap operatic passion to break through the overly polite corporate boardroom chatter that has dominated Genoa City for months. For quite some time now, the show has leaned heavily on business rivalries, stock wars, mergers, and endless Newman-Abbott strategy sessions that, while rich in family legacy, have often left viewers yearning for that classic brand of scandalous entanglement that once made the show sizzle. Fans have been quick to point out on social media that it's been far too long since a juicy, can't-miss affair sent shockwaves through town. That's why the mere hint of something provocative brewing between Kyle, Claire, and Holden, and even a potential blast from Audra, has viewers buzzing with excitement. Although there was no real sex or major controversy from Audra's attempt to pseudo-seduce Kyle, the good news is that the move itself cracked open the door to possibilities. A stolen kiss here, an overheard confession there, and suddenly the stage feels set for some real adultery that could finally heat up our screens again. Fans still talk about the Kyle-Audra kiss with a combination of frustration and anticipation. Frustration because it didn't quite evolve into the kind of scandalous mess it could have been, but anticipation because, in soap operas, nothing ever truly dies. It only simmers until the timing is right. It's almost difficult to remember the last time we had a truly headline-making sex scandal on Y&R because, honestly, it's been that long. The last one that really made jaws drop was back in 2022, when Chance and Amanda shockingly walked in on Abby and Devon in the act. That particular moment wasn't just titillating. It shattered relationships, upended trust, and left fallout that echoed for months. And while more recently Adam and Chelsea hooked up in Baltimore, that encounter was far more melancholy and bittersweet than it was passionate or scandalous. It played less like a torrid affair and more like two broken people finding solace in each other's arms, a kind of desperate reunion steeped in regret rather than sparks. Fans appreciated the depth of emotion, but it didn't carry that sizzling, forbidden energy of a true soap opera sex scandal. What Y&R viewers crave is a scandal that blends betrayal, lust, and consequences, a reckless decision that nobody can take back once the clothes hit the floor. And thankfully, Kyle Abbott's horribly mistimed proposal to Claire Newman may have created exactly the right storm for such a thing to happen. The scene was almost comical in its awkwardness, Kyle pouring his heart out, producing the ring, and trying to force a romantic milestone when the timing couldn't have been worse. Claire, visibly overwhelmed and emotionally frayed, bolted into the night rather than accept. For longtime soap fans, it was a deliciously open-ended moment. Were they now broken up, or were they simply on a break, a la Ross and Rachel in Friends? The ambiguity of it all left room for interpretation. And in soaps, ambiguity is the perfect breeding ground for scandal. Into this uncertainty walked Holden Novak, the attractive, chiseled newcomer whose feelings for Claire have been simmering just beneath the surface for weeks. When Claire ran into him later, still shaken from Kyle's proposal debacle, Holden became the sounding board, the shoulder, the temptation. Claire persuaded him to join her for a drink, and in that instant, everything changed. Claire had previously confessed to Esther that she was feeling restless, craving something dangerous after the emotionally exhausting incident with Kyle. She even referenced the fact that she had never had too much Vespa and hinted that perhaps it was time to let go of her carefully maintained restraint. For someone like Claire, who has been on a journey of redemption and self-discovery after years of trauma and manipulation, the idea of living dangerously carries enormous weight. She's been trying so hard to prove herself as trustworthy, stable, and worthy of love, but in the wake of rejection, embarrassment, and heartbreak, temptation comes calling louder than ever. And Holden, with his easy smile, his compassion, and yes, those undeniably soap-worthy abs, represents the perfect storm: comfort, danger, and desire wrapped into one. This is where the real soapy speculation begins to take off. Because if Claire crosses the line with Holden, even just one night, even just one impulsive kiss that turns into something more, it won't just be about infidelity. It will be about identity, about whether Claire truly believes she can escape the cycle of mistakes that has defined so much of her life. Fans are already divided on whether they want Claire to take that plunge. A soaps poll revealed that 53% of respondents said they would be all for Claire cheating on Kyle with Holden, even if it was just one roll in the hay, while 47% felt that would be too much, too soon. The split reflects exactly why this storyline is so juicy. It's not just about sex, it's about choices, morality, and fallout. Half the fanbase craves the thrill of scandal, while the other half is rooting for Claire to rise above temptation. Either way, the audience is invested, and that's what Y&R desperately needs right now. The comparison to past scandals is impossible to ignore. For instance, when Nick Newman and Phyllis Summers' affair was exposed years ago, it wasn't just shocking because of the physical act, it was shocking because of the betrayals it represented. Nick was married to Sharon. Phyllis was best friends with Sharon. The affair ripped through families, friendships, and business alliances. It was messy, raw, and had consequences that played out for years. That's the kind of scandal that lingers in soap history. Similarly, if Claire gives in to Holden, it won't just be about a fling. It would drive a wedge between her and Kyle, potentially reignite tensions with Summer, who would surely have something to say, and possibly even draw Audra back into the mix if she sees an opportunity to exploit the fallout. Suddenly, one impulsive decision in a bar could ignite storylines across multiple characters, rippling through Genoa City like a shockwave. And let's not forget, Kyle himself isn't exactly blameless here. His history with Audra is messy at best, and his poorly timed proposal showed a lack of emotional awareness that suggests he may not be as tuned into Claire's needs as he should be. If Claire strays, part of the blame lies with Kyle's inability to slow down and read the room. Soap scandals are never one-sided. They are built on layers of missteps, vulnerabilities, and timing. Holden simply happens to be the right man in the right place at the wrong time. What makes this potential scandal so exciting is the fact that it finally injects unpredictability into a show that has felt, at times, a little too predictable. Business deal collapses, corporate betrayals, and hostile takeovers are fine, but they rarely get fans buzzing on social media the way a shocking affair does. Already, Twitter threads, Reddit forums, and fan groups are lighting up with theories. Some believe Claire will absolutely cross the line, setting up a love triangle with Kyle and Holden that could stretch out for months. Others argue that she'll stop short, but the mere suggestion of betrayal will haunt her relationship with Kyle and keep tensions simmering. A smaller but vocal group even thinks Holden might be playing a longer game, and that seducing Claire could be part of a plot orchestrated by someone else, maybe even Audra, who knows a messy scandal is the fastest way to blow up Kyle's life. No matter which direction it takes, what's undeniable is that Y&R has finally given fans something to talk about beyond quarterly reports and board meetings. Claire, Kyle, Holden, and Audra are young, vibrant characters with tangled histories and unresolved issues, and putting them in a messy sexual scandal is exactly what soaps are built on. Fans want to be shocked, to gasp, to scream at their screens, and then tune in tomorrow to see the fallout. And this story, more than any business deal or legal contract, has the potential to do exactly that. At the end of the day, the real question isn't whether Claire should or shouldn't cheat. The real question is whether Y&R will have the courage to lean into the scandal, to push boundaries, and to deliver the kind of storyline that reminds fans why they fell in love with soaps in the first place. Because one thing is certain, viewers are hungry for it. They've been waiting patiently through months of dry drama, and now, with Claire teetering on the edge of temptation, the stage is finally set for Genoa City's next big scandal. All that remains is for someone, Claire, Holden, Kyle, or even Audra, to take that final, fateful step. The aftermath of a potential Claire-Holden hookup is already sparking heated debates among fans, and the beauty of a soap opera scandal is that it's never just about the two people in the bed, or on the couch, or in the backseat of a car. It's about everyone who finds out, everyone who feels betrayed, and everyone who sees an opportunity in the fallout. Claire may think that one wild night with Holden could be brushed off as a mistake, a slip, or even something to be buried in guilt and silence, but in Genoa City, nothing stays buried for long. Secrets have a way of coming out, sometimes by accident, sometimes through deliberate blackmail, and sometimes by people overhearing conversations in conveniently unlocked rooms. The minute Claire crosses that line, she doesn't just risk her relationship with Kyle, she risks detonating an entire circle of relationships, friendships, and rivalries. And that is why fans are salivating for this storyline. Let's start with Kyle Abbott himself. Kyle has been through enough to know betrayal when it hits him in the face. His history with Summer was riddled with highs and lows, from their youthful romance to the complicated betrayals that eventually tore them apart. If Kyle were to discover that Claire, his supposed new chapter, his clean slate, cheated on him with Holden, it wouldn't just be painful. It would reaffirm his deepest insecurities. Kyle has always carried that shadow of being Jack's son, the one constantly trying to prove he belongs both in the Abbott family legacy and in his own relationships. Being cheated on would feel like another cosmic reminder that maybe he's destined to be disappointed. But Kyle is not a man who sulks quietly. When wronged, he lashes out. We could easily see him not only dumping Claire but diving headfirst back into destructive patterns, whether that means rekindling something dangerous with Audra, or perhaps even reigniting old sparks with Summer under the guise of comfort. Kyle's response would not just be heartbreak, it would be explosive, and fans live for explosions. Then there's Holden Novak, the wildcard. Holden may come across as the supportive friend with washboard abs and a kind heart, but soaps never introduce a character like that without ulterior motives simmering below the surface. Is Holden genuinely into Claire, or is he simply taking advantage of a vulnerable moment? If he truly cares for her, then their hookup could become more than just a fling. It could be the beginning of an intense love triangle that divides fans. But if Holden has darker intentions, if perhaps he's being manipulated by Audra or someone else, then Claire could find herself caught in a trap that makes her look like the villain even when she's the victim. Imagine the twist if Audra orchestrated this entire thing, pushing Holden into Claire's orbit just to destabilize her romance with Kyle. Audra has already proven she's willing to play dirty when it comes to love, power, and business, and nothing would thrill her more than watching Kyle's life implode while she sits back with a glass of champagne. And let's not underestimate Audra's role here. Though she hasn't been in the center of this triangle, yet, her history with Kyle makes her a natural fit to stir the pot. If Kyle spirals after discovering Claire's betrayal, Audra will be right there to pounce, presenting herself as the only one who truly understands him. Soap history tells us that Audra thrives in chaos, and nothing would give her more satisfaction than swooping in to pick up Kyle when he's at his lowest. She could use sex as leverage, affection as manipulation, and timing as her greatest weapon. And the beauty of it? She wouldn't even have to lift a finger at first. Claire and Holden could do all the dirty work for her. All Audra has to do is wait for the bomb to drop. But what about Summer Newman? Let's not forget, Summer is still very much in the orbit of this story, even if indirectly. She and Kyle share a history, a daughter, and a lingering connection that has never fully died. If Claire cheats and Kyle is shattered, who's the first person he's likely to turn to for support? Summer. And if that happens, old flames could easily reignite. Imagine the drama if Kyle and Summer end up in bed together just as Claire realizes she made a mistake and wants him back. Suddenly, Kyle is caught between two women, his former wife and his new lover, and the triangle becomes a messy, delicious quadrangle that could fuel months of episodes. Fans would be torn. Should Kyle reunite with Summer, the mother of his child, or fight for a future with Claire despite her betrayal? It's a classic soap dilemma, and it's exactly the kind of emotional meat viewers have been begging for. Zooming out, the scandal could ripple even further. Victor Newman, for instance, has a vested interest in Claire's life. He's been cautiously supportive of her attempts at redemption, seeing her as a fragile soul who deserves a chance after all the manipulation she endured at the hands of her twisted Aunt Jordan. But if Claire cheats on Kyle, Victor's patience could wear thin. He might see it as proof that Claire hasn't changed, that she's still reckless and dangerous. Nikki Newman, on the other hand, might be more sympathetic, remembering her own youthful mistakes and recognizing that people often self-sabotage when they are scared. The generational divide in how the Newmans view Claire's choices could be fascinating to watch, and it would give Victor yet another excuse to meddle, which is always entertaining. Phyllis Summers, too, would not be able to resist inserting herself into this mess. Phyllis has always thrived on chaos, and her connection to both Summer and Kyle would make her eager to take sides, or stir both sides. She might encourage Summer to fight for Kyle, whispering in her ear that Claire is unstable and unworthy. Or, in true Phyllis fashion, she might see the scandal as leverage to exploit for her own purposes. Phyllis never passes up a chance to meddle, especially when it comes to protecting her daughter, and this situation would be ripe for her brand of fiery interference. Even Michael Baldwin and Lauren Fenmore could be pulled into the scandal if Claire's choices start spilling over into the business world. Imagine the drama if Holden is tied to Chancellor Winters or Jabot in some way, and suddenly personal betrayals become professional weapons. That's when Y&R is at its best, when the lines between the bedroom and the boardroom blur, and one affair can topple empires. And let's talk about the fans for a moment, because their reactions are half the fun of these scandals. Already, viewers are split on social media between Team Claire and Team Kyle. Some argue that Claire deserves happiness and should be allowed to explore her feelings for Holden without being villainized, while others insist that cheating is unforgivable and would undo all the redemption work the show has put into her character. Still others are just excited at the prospect of any scandal at all, arguing that Y&R has been far too tame lately. Hashtags like #ClaireandHolden, #Kyle's Heartbreak, and #Audra Always Wins could easily trend if the storyline goes full scandal mode. And in today's soap landscape, fan engagement is gold. It fuels publicity, sparks debates, and keeps the show in the cultural conversation. From a narrative perspective, what makes this potential scandal so exciting is that it's not just about sex, it's about character growth and regression. If Claire cheats, does that mean she's doomed to repeat her past mistakes? Or does it mean she's still figuring out who she is? If Kyle lashes out, does that mean he's truly his father's son, destined to push people away when hurt? If Holden takes advantage of Claire, does that reveal a darker side to him we never saw coming? And if Audra uses the fallout to her advantage, does that cement her as Y&R's next great schemer? These are the kinds of questions that drive soaps forward, keeping viewers glued to their screens day after day. In the end, the question of whether Claire should or shouldn't cheat is almost irrelevant. What matters is what happens if she does, and who finds out. Will Kyle walk in on them? Will Audra snap a photo and use it as blackmail? Will Summer hear it through the grapevine and confront Claire directly? The possibilities are endless, and each one is juicier than the last. Fans don't want clean, tidy resolutions. They want mess. They want secrets revealed at the worst possible moment, weddings interrupted by shocking announcements, and slaps that echo through the living room. They want passion, betrayal, and fallout. And this storyline, if the writers lean into it, could deliver all of that in spades. So, yes, it's a shocking sexual scandal in the making, and fans are completely enjoying it, even before it fully happens. Because sometimes the anticipation is just as thrilling as the act itself. The build-up, the speculation, the what ifs. That's what keeps people tuning in. And in a soap that has sometimes felt too restrained, too corporate, and too safe, the promise of a truly messy, steamy, controversial scandal is like water in the desert. Whether Claire gives in to temptation, whether Kyle retaliates, whether Holden reveals his true motives, or whether Audra lights the final match, one thing is clear: Genoa City is about to get hot again. And fans couldn't be happier about it.